What's good, YouTube? Today we're back with another Market Watch, and the first thing is Yugi No-No's Even More Yugi-Tubers video. I'm starting to do shoutouts on videos at the beginning of Market Watch that are must-see in my opinion, and Yugi No-No's done this skit, Yugi-Tubers, several times, and this is more of a reply back to Glasgow's, and I think he concedes that he found the best Nim Nim joke as we see him use kind of the same one, and it's more of a friendly reply. He says that in the comment section below too. But one of the things that I really like about this video is he actually included, I think, several clips from other Yugi-Tubers, like Rank 10 and Davinator. So it was really cool to see him actually go and do what I call borrowing a cup of clip. I go to people, I'm like, hey, can I borrow a clip? Can I get a clip from you? And I call it borrowing a cup of clip. So it's cool that he went and did that, you know, interconnected the community that he's, you know, poking jabs at and taking the jabs back at himself, like he let Rington, you know, jab back at him. It was really, really funny, and I think it's a good video. Now back to our regularly scheduled Market Watch. The first one is going to be super obvious, but I didn't see it tanking this low already. I thought it would crawl down to 20 at the worst, but you see that, oh, let me stretch out the window here. My bad, boys. So you see this this norm of $35 all the way down to 23. I thought this would have been the slow crawl, but it's so unused in the current metagame that people are just getting rid of it like it's the plague, and it's already down to 23. I thought it would have crawled at worst after we saw the ratios. We don't even know the kind of ratios that are going to be presented, but people are getting rid of them so fast. I wouldn't have been this fast to get rid of them. I would have been trying to move them at a more decent price, but if the market is crashing like this on the card, it's going to continue to do this, and we see several priced at this, 3 total before it moves back up towards the 26 range. It's just way beyond my expectations on how low it could have gone. And we see on eBay, I would have thought it would have been around 30 to 28. It's at that 2750/2030 range next. So it's gone down way faster on TCG Player, and I think on cards where reprints are surprise announced, we've seen over and over that people tend to go for it on TCG Player at times. So again, a reason to always check both if you're thinking this is a good buy, but I have no clue until we see the ratios, and I think this was a really quick decision by the people that are listing them this low. But again, it's not being used in the current meta, so I can see the reasoning. National season is here, so prices are going to bottom out naturally anyways. It's a really tough call, and I can't tell you guys what to do here other than I personally would have got rid of my Omegas. I didn't expect it to be this bad. Something really interesting I noticed are the Utopia Lightning prices. The Ultra is still very, very high at the, you see this near mint lowest is at, and I want to make sure I've refreshed my tabs here because I've had them open for a bit. We see the lowest is at the 26, 27-ish range, and the lowest on the ultis at $28.50, $1.50 more for an OP Ultimate Rare? This does not make sense to me at all. I know the Ultras are hard to get, and they look pretty decent with the background. I really, it's one of my favorite color greens, don't get me wrong, but a chance for an Ultimate Rare at $1.50 more. If you're in the market for this card, if you're thinking of going and getting it, just pay the $1.50 more. This is insanity, and the English supers have been up there too because the English supers are harder to get. As you know, the budget version of this card is the super rare, and the foreign super rare, and we see on eBay it's a similar 26 here. If we're looking at super rares, the lowest is now. Oh, this isn't super, sorry, this is ultimate. The lowest on eBay was at 30. Let's just look up super and see what the lowest foreigns are still at. Yeah, you can still get your Spanish ones at 13. So, you know, the budget is to write a translation and go for this version. But the ultimate rare being, you know, at $1.50 available. And lowest again on TCG Player. TCG Player is really fighting back in this Market Watch. It's just very obvious to me if you're spending cash on this card to get it. If you're trading, you know, people might let the Ultra go at 25 and this at 30. I would still do the $5 upgrade from the Ultimate Rare. That's like the old school charge for an upgrade to an ulti, it makes no sense to me on Utopia the Lightning on why you would spend that little bit less for an ultra unless you really just like the aesthetic of the ultra rare. If you're going for the budget option, of course the foreign supers are still the best. You need a written translation if you have no other copies. Trishula is the other obvious card from High Speed Riders that got announced for a reprint, and it is not tanking at all, despite having so many multiple versions, these being the 2 high rarities. It's not tanking like hard, where Omega did. It's kind of trying to hold in there. The Secrets did. The Secrets have gone down rather fast, but the Duelist Saga version actually kind of held in there, surprisingly. It was a low of like 17 last night. It's only dipped 50 more since then, and there's only one seller at that price. Adam Korn here, you know, with 17, always one of the first on the scene. I didn't like this reprint, and when I did the video, I said I didn't like the reprint, and I would have rather it been a different slot, maybe something like Beals in Battles of Legend, because it just got a reprint in Duelist Saga, and if you see, it's the only thing holding up the product. A lot of vendors have, you know, displays of these still. It wasn't the best-selling set ever. It was a brand new rarity. People were slow to kind of hop on it, and it's the highest price card in Duelist Saga, so it's what's holding this to even have value. And I was considering it down the line as an investment because it has really cool things like the Magician of Faith, Tsukiyomi's, etc. Something maybe to do pack openings on the channel, chill and have fun with while you know, hunting down Trishulas. And this does hurt it, but we'll have to see again the ratios. We don't know anything about the ratios. The speculation on Cyframe Omega is way worse because it's its first reprint ever. But as we saw in Trishula, despite its many versions, the Secret seems to be taking the worst hit. But the Duelist Saga is just hanging in there overall, and I think that's actually pretty cool that it's hanging in there. But on eBay, somebody's wanting to get rid of it real bad at $12.67. Get yourself a deal. I don't think it will be falling down past 12, so if you're trying to hunt down the Duelist Saga rarity specifically, I think they look really cool, personally. It's my taste. I know people did like it and didn't like it, but I think this is a really great price for Duelist Saga Trishula. Again, people panicking. You'll have independent sellers on both sites jumping ship. Now, something I found really interesting was Carlancho's store shows once in a while OCG trends from OCG metas, and Chiwen spiked heavily in the OCG because dinosaurs are one of the most viable decks left after the ban list. We don't know how our ban list after Lynx will turn out. We don't know how our format will shape, but I do think it would be smart to go ahead and trade for your playset now. At, you know, 15 for a playset, this card only has 2 versions. It's unlikely to get another version anytime soon. Unless there's just a pack that goes, hey, here's some Yang Zings, because the rest of the Yang Zings aren't that high of value either. Although we did just see the Zephyr Yang Zings reprinted. I think it would be very smart to go ahead and just have your copies of this, though. 15's not that much to trade for, especially if you have the dinosaur cards already. Dinosaur Yang Zings are the version that are causing this to spike from what I've seen. And we see here on eBay, it actually goes up very quickly from $475 to $575. Oh, nope, I have best match. My bad, boys. So actually lower, much lower. 440, 470, 470, 475. Rookie mistake. My bad. So you got quite a few under the 5 range. I would just go ahead and start trading for mine now if I were you guys. Definitely a good option to have, and you don't need to play 3, but I like to have a set. I know I gotta give VCTRFS some credit on this one. He likes to get a set for himself, a set to trade, and a set to sell, I believe. Sorry if I got your motto wrong, but I think it's good to pick up things in sets of 9s if you're doing it as a trader more so than a player, because having a set for yourself and then a set to play so that you don't regret getting rid of it, or you don't just get rid of it for hype thinking you'll get it back later, I think that's actually a pretty good, you know, a set of 9 for the average Joe. That's a really good set of rules. Denglong, by that kind of matter in my thoughts, it could end up in the Megatons. I think the lowest is around 326. Yeah, we have unlimited and first ed at the 326 range. It could end up in the Megatons is the main problem with trying to get this card. But if it's one of the ones that aren't, Oh boy, oh man, this card could go up very heavily, and at the same time, it's not that much of a risk at all to already have yours. Definitely, I would have 2, if not 3 of these cards. Again, you can wait for the Megatins, but it can't go down much past this point. And we see it's at $4 here, so TCG Player really throwing it out. I think the only card we've been beaten on is Trishula Dual Saga. Being able to buy the Spanish Lightnings, and Chiwen having a lower price. It's actually 1 on TCG Player, 1 on Omega, 1 on Ulti Lightning. It's pretty cool to see this back and forth during this market watch. And another discussion I'm going to do soon is these... I think I want to do it as like an independent discussion, but I just want to touch on it lightly here. These ridiculous prices on the DR cards, some are deserved, some aren't, but we see that Fallout Overtime, like we've seen DD Assailant bought out time and time again. I love when the major vendors come in and cool off the prices, but they can't do it with a large quantity of these cards. The vendors want to sell these cards, they want to move them, they want to help continue to support their overhead. So it's really just odd to see where it'll stick at. But as you see, it ends up making the independent sellers come down as well, as there wasn't DD Assailant under 100 for a while. I haven't checked this card in a little bit either, but we see that there are now sellers sticking under the 100 range, and mainly thanks to our major vendors. So vendors do help. Somehow I'm just blind and missed the 70 from Duelist Academy. Good job, Duelist Academy. So, again, another independent seller, but a high-rated seller in here. But vendors definitely help bring the mark down, and then people who want to sell and move their cards help bring the mark down. So it's nice to see cards like this cool off. Cards like this will cool off over time, despite such a low quantity. They get targeted for buyouts, and you have to decide with your own range what price you want to go in if you're a collector. And let's face it, the only people who are going to have to get these cards are collectors or GOAT format players, or the mix of the two. It's not people who are getting these for meta play, obviously. So it's kind of just you eating your own kryptonite and deciding when you want to go in. Try not to buy at the worst times is my initial response, but I'll have a much more in-depth look. And I think we'll be going over the Retro Pack series, the DR series, the DB series, and some other ones. I think that'll be pretty fun to go over and do. But again, this has been another Market Watch. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I'll put the link for Yugi Nono's video down below. I really enjoyed this one. I thought he did a pretty good job. And again, I think people hit the panic button on this a little bit fast, but at the same time, my initial reaction would have been to get rid of mine as well. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know what you guys think down below about the price changes on, say, Omega versus Trish. Really odd with a card just so stable with 5 different copies like Trish, but 2 of them are super high rarity.